Now the letters have been sharpened and deepened, the next process is to paint them. But because the surface is still a bit rough and damaged in places, we have to be really careful in the amount of paint that we leave on the surface. I use a fine, small brush, just so when we paint inside the letters and then leave as little excess on the outside of the letters as possible. Because during the rubbing off process, it's going to be more difficult to remove the excess paint. A good tip is when you are painting these letters, when you come to fine areas, roll your brush so it goes to a point and takes the serif out.
What paint are you using, John?
The paint I'm using here is an oil-based enamel. The paint is suitable for one application, but I'll be putting two, and if the stone is okay, maybe possibly three. I'm here today to look at the condition of this memorial and to see what can be done to repair it. This particular face here has become very friable due to the weather. Its condition is very, very poor and very pitted. You can see it's disintegrating just by a very touch. It's had a couple of attempts at repair here, which is newer and have withstood the weather and looks still reasonably good condition. But I'm afraid this surface here is completely lost. Just even the touch of it is breaking away, and that can't be re-lettered.
Lovely. Sorry, now one more time.
I'll
sorry,
go.
hands, Great.
Possibilities could be to put a new block in, matching the Portland to as closely as possible, and then just cutting this section out and then remasoning the whole area with new swags, new ribbons and new lettering on that face. The font in this chapel is made of Portland stone, which is a particularly nice stone to carve because it gives you great detail. But unfortunately with that becomes the fact that it becomes very friable with the weather, and hence you've got all this deterioration on the stone here. On this particular face, there's many issues that you need to consider. One, do you cut a section right out here and remason these columns, the ribbons and the swags in a complete new place? Or do you just concentrate on the lettering to make the lettering more legible? There's various issues really that need to be considered. One, how far this face needs to be taken back, and whether or not you will lose the detail in doing so. The minimum roll on this face would be to recess the stonework back and then go back to the good Portland again and then recarve these letters so it's on the good face surface of the Portland stone. With doing that, you would be left with this damaged area, which could be replaced by mortar repairs around the heads and that, but would not match with the existing carving.
Go again.
The minimum option would be
Got it.
now these letters have received a minimum of 2 coats and dried. The next process is to rub the excess letters from around the letters, to remove the excess paint from around the letters. I do so by wetting the area, which reacts with the clay wash, because the clay wash is water soluble, and then that helps it not to be as sticky to the back to the stone itself. So I say, I'll wet the surface, and you get a very, very fine pad, and gently ever so gently, just trying to just keep the pad on the surface, just to take the excess paint from away from the inside of the letter. Once the excess paint has been removed from the surface of the stone, it's just a clean wipe right the way across, using clean water all the time to get rid of the excess paint and stone dust out from the letter.
Okay. That's the point, that, you know, you might just keep out.
Yeah. You need to keep rubbing away, but gently rubbing away until the excess has been removed from the surface of the stone. But always bear in mind the amount of abrasive rubbing down you're doing. Very important that you use clean water to remove the stone slurry dust from inside the letters, because although it looks clean when it's wet, the stone dust can dry white and leave the inside of the letters white.
So I'm just going to